Okay, hey guys. Um, Wanted to make a brief video talking about my challenges in finding a laptop suitable for writing and just like cheap and types okay, has a tolerable battery life and is compact. That's probably the most important thing. It needs to type okay and needs to be compact. So first, I'll show you the laptop that got me through college, which is pretty similar to what I was searching for, something of this form factor. This is an old Acer Aspire 1, I think. Yep, ES1-111M-C7DE. Came with like a 7mm hard drive. Everything is serviceable under the hood, pretty much. Took the battery out because it's bulging, so this is just a display piece now. It's hung up in my study. I had a SSD in there that I replaced the hard drive with, upgraded the RAM from 2 to 4. I remember that the RAM was, you had to first of all remove this clamshell back, and then you also had to pull the motherboard off, which is like in this corner. Flip it over, then get to the RAM on the other side. So it's a little bit harder to get to the RAM, but it does the trick. It was really cheap. I think I purchased this for $300 back in, I don't know, 2013 maybe. And as you can tell, it's pretty, mind the dust. This has been hanging up in a dusty room, and I haven't cleaned it. So, but it types okay. It's not amazing. Panel is just a little bit higher than 720p is what do you call 1366 by 768, which honestly is enough pixels for most work. So yeah, this is what I'm kind of looking for, something like this. And the reason why I don't use this one anymore is pretty much the chassis is just falling apart. Like, I don't know if you can tell there, but that's not the clamshell holding it in place there. That's just the nylon washers offsetting the motherboard so it doesn't like fall out. So like a lot of places where the clamshell was held in place by recessed plastic tabs, for lack of better description, were completely disintegrated and worn out. Like, let's get a close up there. Yeah, you can kind of tell, like, if I press down, can't really tell because I've done such a good job fixing this. But basically, yeah, it's falling apart. You see stress cracks right there. And there's an LVDS connector right here. I don't want to take this apart because like this clamshell could just break if I do it. It's really that busted. But like this LVDS connector for the video display, if I press down like right here, actually I think it was right here, yeah, you can see how like the clamshell tabbings or recessed screw holes disintegrate, so there's just like some nylon washers supporting that screw. That also protected the LVDS connector right next to it from getting squished when I pressed down too hard right here. So like every time I would pick up the laptop, pick the wrong part, it would just cause it to hard lock because LVDS is not designed to be hot pluggable. That's the laptop connector for video. And so I fixed it by putting a boatload of nylon washers down there and cleaning it up and stuff, and some other padding, but it was just like, that's a bit excessive. But what really made it kick the bucket was that this trackpad stopped working. So, and it started giving just nonsense inputs. Tried looking for a replacement, and it's like it was like $50 plus shipping from the UK. Very rare part. No one's really fixing these. So yeah, as you can imagine, like it doesn't really last, but I think I got a good, well, if this was made in I must have been like 2014 sometime or 2015. I think I got a good 5-6 years out of this laptop for $300. That's not bad at all. Especially for a very cheap netbook. So I was looking for something like this. I just realized there's some other laptops I also considered that aren't on the table here. So if you hold on 1 second, I'll grab those too. Cause yeah, what the heck. All right. I hope I don't edit this. I really don't care to edit this. Honestly, I wasn't gonna make this video, but I was just like, well, since I'm looking at this MacBook Air that I'm gonna show in the video as well, I'm gonna be wiping and selling it. It doesn't produce memes. So I'm just wiping off some dust. That's important, right? So here's another one I assessed, right? But as I was saying, like, trying to get rid of some stuff, and before I wanted to get rid of it, I wanted to at least make something to memorialize the effort put into this, and maybe just show others looking to get a portable, tiny little laptop. Some things that work, some things that don't work, some things to look out for, and what I found worked and what didn't work. So this one here is actually from 2003. It's a Pentium. My camera angle is funny. Let's see what I can do about that. Yeah. So, it's a Pentium M laptop. Has a gig of RAM. Even has built-in Wi-Fi, though I use an external adapter because the built-in Wi-Fi has a buggy firmware, and this Realtek adapter does not. Runs Gen 2 just fine. Runs Firefox. Even loads Discord, I guess, but you'd be patient with that. Not the biggest fan of this keyboard, though. This is one of the... Apparently there's multiple SKUs for similar keyboards that work with the same series of Thinkpad. And this one is just it's... I don't know, I think it has too much travel for what I'm looking for. And it is mushy, though. I like a little bit more mushy. More mush, so balanced, whatever you want to call it. I guess to prove this thing does work and it's not a complete relic, I'll just fire it up real quick. Hopefully I have battery on this thing. And I think this has to be plugged in the back one because remember the side one doesn't work probably. That's an issue with these older ThinkPads of this X31, around that time, 2004, 2003. Apparently the USB ports would have static discharge issues. So if you weren't really gentle with them, it would just fry itself whenever you used it funny. Thankfully the battery indicator is not blinking, so I must have some charge left. It's the original battery, so it only gets an hour of charge. Put the back. And so I have an SSD in this bad boy. That helps a lot. That's honestly the biggest upgrade you can do with any sort of low-end hardware, is get that hard drive out of there, get that SSD in there. Much more than just switching any operating system or choosing a better operating system. Just using the right storage device is all you really need. Oh, it's having a day here. I saw it blink, so it must be trying. I haven't used this in a while, so If things break, it wouldn't surprise me. Let me try on the other side. Yeah, so I guess maybe the back one is not working right, the back USB. So I'll just log in here, just demonstrate. Yeah, this thing does work. Okay, I think that's all the passphrases and passwords for now. So let me just do exec start X, get us a desktop. It does run Wayland, but Wayland's low slow. So I run X11 for now, and I guess I'll run Wayland just to show it works, since we're talking about laptops and what I found worked, what I found didn't work. So like this laptop does work, but honestly the battery is probably the biggest issue, and the fact that I couldn't find a working Wi-Fi radio that worked inside. That's my dishwasher saying, please empty me. So I'm running rat poison. Yeah, make it a little bigger so y'all can see that better. And I'm using an Xterm because nothing wrong with Xterm. Xterm is a pretty great terminal emulator. It works on anything, has very tame requirements on hardware. It's not written in Rust, so it works on really old stuff. And technically Rust does work here, and I have some Rust-based software on here, but Rust will not work on machines that don't have certain CPU extensions. So, you know, it's just like, if this were any older than a Pentium 4, Rust would not work. Pentium 4, Pentium M, you know. So anyways, this works. I have SyncThing running, so that's what the hard drive indicator is going crazy about. And we check my CPU usage, we'll see SyncThing is doing some work. And I tuned it way down because SyncThing would otherwise use like almost all this RAM. So you can tune SyncThing down to have very modest memory use. So I also run Firefox, though day to day I would not run Firefox as much as I can help it. Like if you have to work on something, like I've developed Django applications on this thing, like in the last 2 years or so, like it gets around, you know. It does work, but it's just like, you know, I could do this on a different machine, or maybe I can test on a different browser. It's a little bit less demanding. But it's been a fun machine to get the most out of what I want. Debian does work, but unfortunately Debian's all compiled with O2 optimizations instead of OS. And also Debian likes to enable all the feature sets. So that means like there's just a lot of stuff that you need to pull in and install and load up in your library space when you're using it, like your memory or whatever. And that's the other thing about this is it has a fan. Let me hydrate. Not used to recording, guys. So I love the track point too. I'll just push this forward so you can see me manipulating the input. Notice there's no trackpad. That's totally fine. Honestly, hard to use the mouse anyways. Just to click on stuff, you know, which is not much what I do. But yeah, in summary, this laptop works fine. It's really cool. Unfortunately, it's just a bit, for lack of better description, it's just a little bit dated. It's got, the CPU is a bit underpowered. The memory is a bit reduced, but it it does work, you know, like if I load up wikipedia.org. But I'll show you what I would use. I think this will go up real quick, yeah. This browser is amazing. It's called Lynx. It's running a little slow because Firefox is chugging in the background. Sync things also synchronizing files in the background since I haven't fired this up in a while. We're probably swapping a bit since the hard drive indicator is blinking a lot. But yeah, I mean, this consumes all the content I need, you know. And again, it's gonna be really slow when you're running like a heavy duty browser in the background, just chugging and eating all the CPU cycles. But you see, even with all that resource used, it's just fine. Oh, being the blinks, so clearly it's low on battery and I need to turn this thing off. Whoa, timeout, do you? Huh. So no script triggered the XSS warning thing because it thought that delay was bad. But you get the point, it does work. You just have to be patient with it. Definitely need to charge it up. So yeah, it's upset. I'm turning this off before I lose power. Yeah, look at that. And you'll just have to believe me, this runs Sway fine. Sway can render to Pixman, which is render with Pixman instead of like OpenGL 3D acceleration. Hardware accelerated rendering. So it does work. It's a little bit slow, especially when running Firefox, but it's fast enough to type away at. And I have typed a bit on this laptop, so that's, you know, it works fine. It also has a gigabit Ethernet port, which is pretty cool for any laptop at any age. But yeah, anyways, let's move on. I just wanted to kind of just talk about these things before I dismantle my collection here. So here's the one that I bought for like $100. That ThinkPad was about $150 in 2020. So this is a $100 MacBook Air 2015. And honestly, I thought this would be the perfect laptop. But it really is not. Like the MagSafe is amazing. The form factor is mostly amazing. It's fairly lightweight. It's got a headphone jack. It's got the USB ports. It's got Lightning, but I would never use that. You know, it's got enough ports, not too many. But the issue with this laptop is the keyboard. I don't know if you hear that. It does have a slight bounce to it, but it's just so... Like, my wrists are like, dude, what are you doing to me? And I haven't really typed much on it besides just a few key presses. Like, it's just a very, it's a very terrible laptop when it comes to typing. And that makes sense because I remember back in 2013, I had a MacBook Air. It's trying to fire up OpenSUSE. I don't want to do that because OpenSUSE, I'll get to that. Let me finish my thought. I remember back in like 2013, I had a MacBook Air similar to this one, but a little bit younger model, earlier model, and it killed my wrists. Like, I didn't realize at the time, but like, apparently a lot of my RSI issues were caused by just using like a keyboard like this. And maybe mixed with just not doing much else but doing the computer stuff. But this definitely made it far worse than it should have been. And I was in denial because everyone had these, everyone thought these were the the best thing ever. And lo and behold, I put together, it's this keyboard is just terrible. So the cool thing with OpenSUSE, by the way, is that if you do full disk encryption, it will do the Lux part in Grub. So once it unlocks, the boot partition is actually locked in Grub. This is just like a very brief place for Grub. I think it's like in the Apple that partition where Mac OS puts like his bootloader stuff. It's in that partition. Just a little Grub executable. Yeah. Oh, this is EFI, that's right. So it's just the EFI executable that's configured to grab. I don't know how it works, but anyways, it's pretty cool. Control delete. Does that work? Control Alt delete. And that's the other annoying thing about the Mac is that reboot maybe. Like Control delete doesn't work. Okay, so I'm holding on the Option key to boot Mac OS. I don't remember my password. Now I think about it. But yeah, this worked all right. The battery life was not terrible, passable. I assessed Ulysses 3 and IA Writer on here, and found that they didn't offer much value over my eMac setup. I have very great memories of Ulysses 3, but with them moving to a model where you don't really own it ever, you own nothing and you'll like it kind of model, where you pay a subscription. I think there's like a lifetime, but it's just like same deal. It's just unsavory. In addition, like I found that I was just wanting all the eMac stuff I had, which isn't much. And also, I didn't want to buy into the Mac ecosystem. I had to previously, and you really do give up most of your right to choice and control of your computer when you use those ecosystems, Windows or Mac. You can't, it's just not a good trade for me. So, yeah, not for me. But the main thing is just the keyboard is just atrocious. Like, I thought it'd be okay, but nah, it's really bad. And then the Broadcom Wi-Fi in this thing is one of the worst Broadcom chips I've touched in a while. So the Wi-Fi connectivity is poor. Not that in the world. It just needs to work most of the time, But yeah, I don't know. It's just, oh my god. I was hoping to make better content about this, but the fact I'm making anything about this is good enough, honestly, because otherwise I would never have talked about this at all and published it at all. So in summary, this Mac is, in theory, it should work for writing, but in practice it doesn't for me because the software sucks. Also, the EOL for the Mac OS version this thing would run. I forget which version, it's in Monterey or something. That EOL's in I think about 9 months from now, something like that. So less than a year. So that's why it was so cheap. Because you basically have to run Linux. You want to get modern support and security updates. So I think that's what a lot of people don't understand about computers is that you can't just run the same software. You have to run software that's updated if you want to network it. Otherwise, you're just asking for yourself to be screwed over by either some sort of data loss event through every fault of your own because you chose to run that software, but in the same vein, maybe you just didn't know, but there's just so much stuff that can go wrong with unsecured software and networking it with other computers. So, and you know, it just means like you basically have a potato. So, I mean, it's a cool laptop. Keyboard sucks, software sucks, the Wi-Fi sucks. Form factor is pretty cool. The aesthetics are really nice. The MagSafe is pretty cool. The panel is not amazing because it has really narrow viewing angles, but that's tolerable. You know, it's fine. Oh, that's right. I did remember I got a lot of eye strain from this laptop screen. Despite looking alright, it's very hard on the eyes after like 30 minutes. So that was the other thing that kind of prompted me to just be like, forget it, this is not going to work. So yeah, I mean, you think this would be the best laptop out there, the bees knees, if you will, but it's not. It's a rinky-dink piece of crap. Okay. So here's the laptop I did settle with for my on-the-go rating. This is the Asus L210M notebook PC. And you know, it's got nothing to call home about, but it does have plenty of connectivity. It has barrel charger, USB-C. It has only USB-C. Doesn't do power delivery. Doesn't do alternate mode for video. HDMI, USB super speed, battery indicator. Second USB is the 2.0 and headphone jack with microphone sleeve. So, you know, enough connectivity for my needs. It's really small, compact. Keyboard is quite nice. I don't know if you hear that, but like, oof, yeah. It's got a lot of give to it. Like, it's not like gonna, you know, blow your socks off, but it's gonna work. You know, it's gonna pass your needs. Webcam is pretty bad, 640 by 480 VGA resolution. So yeah, not too great. Microphone's probably pretty crap, but for just a, you know, laptop you're writing with a insane battery life, it's pretty good. In fact, let me just unlock it, just show you I'm doing this thing. Oopsies, let me grab. So yeah, this thing runs KDE just fine. Oh, I mean, this running Debian just fine. Is there a about thing? I put a SSD in here because this notebook has the NVMe slot, which is pretty sweet. Soldered RAM, only 4 gigs, but honestly, that's good enough. Especially since like I'm not gonna be like doing a lot of heavy lifting on this thing. And I am running KDE, so I'm really pushing it to its limits. Running a lot of heavy software, I feel. And I think that software I ran decided to crap itself. It's kind of funny. Need to figure out how to make K1 ensure the window dimensions are within the panel. But yeah, you know, I can just maximize real quick and that's it. Yeah, see. See, only 4 gigs. Memory usage is going to be very tight, but you know, it's more like a proof of concept. If I really had issues with KD, I could just run something a lot more lighter weight. Yeah, you can see not much in regards for caching or whatever. It's using a swap pretty heavily. Not too heavily, but you know, it's getting around. But let's look at the battery usage here. Right now it says it's going to be about 2.5 hours, 2.25 hours at 35%. But you know, when I've been typing on my Emacs and stuff, let me see if I can show my Emacs. Oh yeah, nothing too private here. I was making some notes about KD and how to script and KWin and stuff. But I've had this estimate go all the way up to like you know 10 to 12 hours with just typing away. So I think what really kills it is just like a heavy running background process, something spanning the CPU. Because unfortunately this is an Intel based machine, but that's also a great thing that everything just works. But the downside is the battery life isn't going to be amazing. And yeah, so like here's my Emacs setup real quick. I was making some notes and I was changing my Emacs configuration. You know, this is a literate org mode configuration. So let's see here. Let's look for, yeah. So I was configuring the blink interval, the cursor, like how often does this cursor blink and when does it blink. So I don't know if you can see in the video, but it says blink cursor interval set to 0.75. So every 75, every 3/4 of a second it will blink. And it'll stop blinking after about 10 seconds. That's what that 10 divided by the interval, which is 0.75. And taking the ceiling, because it needs to be an integer number, whole number. But yeah, so Emacs works just fine. And that's really all I need. I got Suspend working just fine and Hibernate working just fine. This is also my machine for testing out Debian. Was like going to be a good migration pathway from NixOS. I could get into a huge rant about that, but rest assured, when I was using NixOS, I was becoming like a systems integrator for myself. And it was like a full-time job in a way. And I was just like, this isn't what I want to be spending my time on. And the community kind of invalidates your opinion if you say anything like that. If you say it's just too much work or not accessible enough, they're like, well, you know, you're wrong and you're not engineer enough to. It's just like, come on, guy. I can go to work and feel as engineer as I want to, you know. So yeah, NixOS wasn't for me, and all the breakages and stuff, and just the awkward packaging situation for how you get stuff merged in and how you integrate stuff, because it seems like a great system until you try to do anything funny with it. And you're just like, oh my god, how much time went by just now? So anyways, that's my little rant on NixOS, and that's why this is Debian based. I wrote a bunch of Ansible for that, so Debian for Winnie. Just a Ansible playbook with two roles in there. But yeah, anyways, the point of this playbook is just to install some software, essentially configure some files. Stuff that like NixOS people say like, oh yeah, we made this and you know, we're original, and like, oh look at us, we have configuration management. Like, yeah, sure, I have configuration management too. And the best thing about it is it's not eating all my time up. It just works. Debian is very predictable. Debian doesn't change much. Debian is pretty easy to test against. The community isn't abrasive. And the community isn't ruled by people who are going to make choices for everyone without consensus. So, I don't know. It's not for me. I'm trying to use my computer more for writing and stuff and for, value building things as opposed to, well, look at me, I can computer real good. Because I can computer really good if I wanted to, but I'm just tired of that. That's not who I want to be anymore. So, anyways, this laptop's been working really good. Yeah, see, it's about like a 9-hour battery life at my current usage. Maybe a little more if I were to be more conservative, and that's plentiful for my needs, especially when you consider that I never got this quite working correctly in XOS. But if I hold this shut, it'll start sleeping, and after a few hours, it will hibernate itself. And technically, you can get it working in XOS, but it just never worked for me. And yeah, I don't know. This thing even runs ZFS, by the way, and that's a bit absurd because ZFS uses a ton of resources. It makes the disk I/O really slow, and that's why this feels so slow. Because it would feel a lot faster just running Butterfs or XFS, but lessons learned, and I haven't bothered to reinstall it yet. It's working fine. It does get some audio stutters with the ZFS disk I/O since the ZFS read and write threads chew up CPU like no other file system process, but yeah, it works. It's really cheap. If I drop this, I'm not gonna care. If I flex it, I'm not gonna care. It's very replaceable. It's very serviceable for the most part. If you kill the main board, you just find another one and replace the main board. It's weirdly satisfying to just be able to work on your laptops and fix them when they break. So, it's a good laptop for that. And I see myself taking this places, and I have taken this a lot more places than I've taken my other laptops because it's just so light. It's really light. I'm holding it from this corner. There's not much give to it. It's and yeah, this is the way to be if you want to have a laptop with you at all times. You don't want to worry about breaking, but at the same time you want to keep building. This is kind of what you want. And I got this for $60 off eBay. Near pristine condition. I had an SSD from an older project, just a 128 gig SSD, shoved it in here. Been perfect ever since. Even with the ZFS hiccups and literally hiccups and Debian migration, it's been bliss. I haven't touched my main workstation, which is a Ryzen much. I haven't touched my my main i3 laptop. Which is honestly, I don't know why people always need these fast computers, because you can get by with a potato like this just fine. But you get the point. This potato has been just fine. Even that Thinkpad I showed you is just fine as long as you're not doing heavy web application work. This can do that just fine though. I can run Discord in here just fine. Yeah. So. Hopefully this gives some value. I just wanted to get that out so it's not just me talking to myself about this and keeping this up in my head, because I've thought about what I would say a few times and it's just never going to be perfect. And if you like this, then say you like it, whatever. If you don't, that's cool too. you think of production quality is shit, you're right. And that's okay, because I'm not trying to be a perfectionist with this video. So, cheerio. And I would recommend a laptop like this if you're trying to get it into like a pocket machine for writing, or just a little coding machine or whatever. You really don't need too much. You can always do with less. Maximalism does not work well with computers when you want to get stuff done. It just takes away from actually doing the work. So, yeah, cheers.